Hello everyone, this is Reed Hepler for the final video in EDLT 6680. This video is going to compare and contrast the eventual product that I created, which you can see here, the site, and the original idea, as well as talk about 10 specific things I learned while I was in the process of creating this site and developing the product. The original idea of the website was a large repository for all OER materials that any person came across that would be helpful in courses. All higher education institutions were encouraged to contribute to the repository, and there have been several significant changes in this plan. Now, the site is a repository for all higher ed institutions, but only community colleges are the main focus. And also, there was going to be a rigid peer review process for content on the repository, but now use in a course is evidence that the material is good for inclusion in the repository, because only materials certifiably used and verifiably used in courses are accepted into the repository. Educators or librarians, but primarily educators who use these items in courses can upload them to the repository or provide links to the repository. So there are 10 specific things I learned through the experiment process. I conducted 12 experiments, and here are 10 things I found out about it. First of all, customers or educators do not always know what they need or want. Sometimes we as instructional designers or entrepreneurs have to distill the requirements of a resource or product based on their communications and our knowledge of instructional design. Secondly, we should ask questions of more people than you want to respond. Around 75% was the maximum percentage of people who responded with critical and helpful responses to my questions. Some didn't respond at all, or they responded, but the responses were kind of lip servicey, not really that helpful either way. Thirdly, while there are many ideas out there, only one of them will be the most effective. And related to this, number 4 is sometimes that idea is the combination of 2 or more previous ideas, and this creates an approach that no one has thought of on their own. The 5th item I learned is that slow progress does not necessarily mean no progress. There are many interactions that go behind the scenes that you and your software may not know about. The data may be skewed, so you have to check really for all sorts of sources. For example, one of the users of the repository at another institution had faculty members come to his office and he showed them materials on his own screen. So that would mean that he was looking at it, but also his faculty was looking at the items, but only one user was recorded as looking at the resource. Or if you were a repeat user looking at a resource, it will only record the first time you use or review a particular resource. 6, negative feedback is still feedback and you can learn from it. One of our repository members forgot that they were in a meeting with me and talked extremely negatively about the repository. And when someone mentioned that I was in the meeting, they were very embarrassed, but their feedback actually led to some improvements in the design of the site. Number 7, smaller is sometimes better. Now that my repository is only focusing on community college participation, there is much more work being done, and it's easier to collaborate with 3 institutions than 7 institutions. Number 8, simpler is always better. Building an MVP, both in terms of the resources and in terms of the repository in which they reside, means focusing on content rather than aesthetics for the most part. And I found that educators generally like the bare bones, simple resources rather than the flowery, intense resources. 9, timing is everything. You have to focus your projects and initiatives on the broader timeline of the groups you are trying to attract. Number 10 is find people who have the same goal as you do, but work in different ways than you do. For example, Greg Wilson had the idea to have the folders of the courses be subfolders, then be main folders, and we divided them into these different ways. And then he also came up with the idea, I did too, but he was the one who suggested it to me and kind of cemented that I should do it, that only resources that are used in courses should be included in this repository. And other people didn't like that idea, but this seemed to be the way to get only good resources into the site rather than having, everyone pop up 10 resources for algebra, but only 2 of them were valid to be used in the state of Idaho with our specific requirements and etc. So this is specialized by being Idaho higher education community college resources. So here's the website and here's the URL if you want to look it up and see how it works. And thank you very much.